JC, how you write a new scene using inspiration from the conflict from these movies. What is conflict? Conflict is the struggle between two opposing forces. Why is that important in movies? It provides tension and drives the narrative forward. The first type of conflict used in storytelling is... External conflict sets a character against something beyond their control, such as the weather or society's expectations. The most obvious external conflict is the iceberg.
Iceberg, right ahead! Stop it! It's gonna hit!
Overall, this external conflict is the turning point that changes everything for Rose and Jack and sends the movie in a different direction. Another example of external conflict is when the ship snaps.
She splits, right down to the keel. It pulls the stern vertical and then finally detaches.
The experience of it was somewhat different.
It is the turning point for the sequence when the boat sinks, forcing Rose and Jack into the freezing waters, decreasing their chances of survival.
The ship is gonna suck us down! Do not let go of my hand!
As for the external conflict created by society, we only need to look at the two leads. Rose must navigate the pressures from her stifling high society upbringing, whereas Jack is constantly overlooked and disrespected because of his position in society. Societal expectations will always play a part in other types of conflict too. But as a writer, it's essential to identify how much it dictates the world of your story. Just look at this exchange.
And with the number of lifeboats times the capacity you mentioned, forgive me, but it seems that there are not enough for everyone aboard.
About half, actually. In fact, I put in these new Type Davids, which can take an extra row of boats inside this one. But it was thought by some that the deck would look too cluttered. So I was overruled.
Waste of deck space as it is in an unsinkable ship.
Because of the upper class mindset of luxury, those from the poorer end of society suffer.
What are we doing, Mommy? We're just waiting, dear. When they finish putting first class people in the boats, they'll be starting with us and we'll want to be all ready, won't we?
Just like in Titanic, this external conflict is the turning point that changes everything for Pi and sends the movie in a different direction.
Debbie! Get down! Get down! Wait, my brother! You can't swim!
Another example of external conflict is when a humpback whale destroys supplies, forcing Pi into the boat with Richard Parker, the tiger. It is the turning point of Pi's lonely exile out at sea, as it forces Pi to train Richard Parker to accept him in the boat.
Go, Richard Parker. Go on home. I'll leave you alone. Promise.
Making him realize that caring for the tiger motivates him to stay alive.
My fear of him keeps me alert. Tending to his needs gives my life purpose.
As for external conflict created by society, we only need to look at the protagonist's faith.
Don't let these stories and pretty lights fool you. Religion is darkness.
I came to faith through Hinduism, and I found God's love through Christ. But God wasn't finished with me yet.
This conflict follows him out to sea.
God, I give myself to you. I am your vessel. Whatever comes, I want to know. Show me.
Of course he wants to stay alive, but his faith is tested. He has the opportunity to let Richard Parker drown, but does not.
What am I doing?
When it comes to external conflict in your story, ask, what do the characters want in that scene? What event or social construct gets in their way? What do they do now?
I surrender! What more do you want?
The second type of conflict used in storytelling is... Interpersonal conflict refers to any type of opposition involving two or more people. As I said earlier, societal expectations from the story's world will play a part in other types of conflict. This scene is a prime example.
This is not a game. Our situation is precarious. You know the money's gone.
Of course I know it's gone.
Your father left us nothing but a legacy of bad debts hidden by a good name. That name is the only card we have to play.
How can you put this on my shoulders?
Do you want to see me working as a seamstress?
It's so unfair.
Of course it's unfair. We're women.
Societal expectations also show up in this scene in Life of Pi.
You cannot follow 3 different religions at the same time, Piscine.
Why not?
Because believing in everything at the same time is the same as not believing in anything at all.
Science can teach us more about what is out there, but not what is in here.
I'd much rather have you believe in something I don't agree with than to accept everything blindly. And that begins with thinking rationally.
I would like to be baptized.
When it comes to interpersonal conflict in your story, ask, what do the characters want in that scene? Who gets in their way? How do the characters' wants oppose each other? Why now? Or here's another way to put it. X wants Y, but A wants B. After Rose has a night out with Jack, her fiancé wants to be obeyed. Rose wants to be respected.
I'm not a foreman in one of your mills that you can command. I'm your fiancé.
My fiancé! Yes, you are! And my wife in practice, if not yet by law, so you will honor me. Because I will not be made out of fool, Rose. Is this in any way unclear?
No.
After Pi gets dangerously close to Richard Parker, his father wants to force him to witness the tiger killing a goat. His mother does not.
What are you thinking?
This is between a father and his sons.
You want to scar them for life?
Scar them? That boy almost lost his arm.
But he's still a boy.
He will be a man sooner than you think. And this is a lesson I do not want them ever to forget.
The want each character has can either be obvious,
Mine! You understand? Yours! Mine!
hidden,
Well, I'm fine. I'll be fine. Really.
or revealed.
You know, it's a pity I didn't keep that drawing. It'll be worth a lot more by morning.
You unimaginable bastard.
Whenever I'm writing, I like to play around with these options to find the most dynamic way to reveal character through conflict. Why not give it a go? Give it a go, give it a go. Give it. The third type of conflict used in storytelling is... internal conflict is when a character struggles with their own opposing belief or desire. It happens within them and drives their development.
I felt like I was standing at a great precipice with no one to pull me back, no one who cared or even noticed.
Rose feels trapped in her life, believing her only options are to suffer in silence or not live at all. With Jack's help, she learns to take ownership of her life and the direction it will take.
When this ship docks, I'm getting off with you.
On ship, gravy is not meat. It's taste. You try?
Pi is a vegetarian and struggles to reconcile that he will have to forego this.
So I must learn to catch fish. If I don't, I'm afraid his last meal will be a skinny vegetarian boy.
He wants to stand by his faith, but ultimately he needs to survive. Internal conflict can be caused by opposition between a character's want and need. It can be caused by a character's wound. It can even be caused by a flaw or fear. But more about these in another video. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. One way to demonstrate character through conflict is to use a dialogue.
Got everything I need right here with me. Got air in my lungs and a few blank sheets of paper. I mean, I love waking up in the morning not knowing what's gonna happen or who I'm gonna meet, where I'm gonna wind up.
This speech demonstrates Jack's character and how his outlook on life is different to those seated at the table. It is also one of the reasons Rose falls in love with him. He represents the freedom she desperately wants. Another way to demonstrate character through conflict is to use action. This is the first time Pi successfully asserts his dominance over Richard Parker, demonstrating to the audience Pi's shift in mindset to survive. Remember, writing conflict is about what the character would say or do, not what the writer wants them to say or do. I have a terrible habit of doing that. I'm trying to stop, but it's like an addiction. To begin writing conflict, identify these key things. Taking inspiration from the conflict in Titanic and Life of Pi, here's my match. Pi wants to jump off the back of the ship, but Richard Parker wants to convince Pi to come safely back on deck.
You don't want to do this.
Rose wants to claim her side of the boat.
I don't have to leave. This is my part of the ship. You leave.
But Jack wants to claim the boat as his territory. I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening. I've got the sillies. If you found any little bit of this informative, funny, I don't know, silly, subscribe. Until the next match. What is conflict? What is conflict? Ow, I bit my tongue. What am I trying to say? What is conflict? What is conflict? What is conflict? This is really hard for me. You can't see my eyebrows under this fringe, and I've had a lot of comments on my eyebrows. Want to know more about conflict? Check out this video on obstacles.